y'all, welcome back to Dynamic Fitness. This is Haley and Ashley, and today's video will be our fan favorite videos, and it's resistance training using resistance bands.
And so these movements will consist of both upper and lower body movements, and you'll, like we said earlier, you'll be using your resistance bands there to add your resistance into your exercises, and you'll be doing 4 rounds for 8 reps.
Let's get started.
So your first exercise will be your banded squats, and you'll have your resistance band right here, and then you'll just put it on, and then you'll put it a little bit above your knees, about right here, and then you'll spread your feet, and then you'll go down into a squat, and come back up, and go down, and come back up, and you'll do this for 8 times.
The next exercise we have is glute pumps. So you're going to put your resistance band just above your ankle right here. And then I recommend holding on to something, but I don't have good balance, so that's why I'm going to hold on. So you're going to stand not quite shoulder length apart, just a little kind of close together. And then you're going to hold on to your anything. You don't have to hold on, that's just what I'm doing. And you're just going to extend your leg outwards. And 8 times, and then just do it as far, like this as far as I can get, but if you can go farther you can. It just depends on which resistance band you choose.
single leg RDLs, and you'll be doing this for each leg. And so what you'll do is you'll put the resistance band around the bottom of your foot, and then you'll get down and put your back foot kind of pointed up. And so then you'll bend down and then back up. And then you'll do this for each leg.
rows, and you will put your resistance band on the ground and hold it with your foot like so, like with your toe area. And then you're going to put your other foot that's not on the band behind the other one like so. And you're going to grab it and you're going to pull it up, your arm up. Kind of like you're cranking a lawnmower. And
So you'll have your resistance band, and then the arm that you're raising up, you'll put the band around your wrist, and then you'll use your other hand to hold it. So what you'll do is you'll just bring your arm up out to the side, like this, and then when you switch hands, you'll just grab this side, and then you'll put your wrist into this side that you're raising, and then you'll raise back up, making sure you're keeping your elbow connected to your side, so that way you can get the best movement.
Bicep curls. So you're going to take your band and you're going to have your arms, your palms facing outwards, and I'm going to do this hand first. So you're going to keep your left hand stable while bringing your right hand up to your collarbone. And same thing if you're doing your left hand, you're going to keep your right hand stable, collarbone. 8 times on both arms.
plank rows. And so what you want to do is get down into a plank, but you want to make sure that you have the resistance band in between each thumb so you can get a good grip of it. So you'll go ahead and get down into your plank like this, and then what you'll do is you'll keep this arm on the ground and you'll bring this arm up into the row motion, and then you'll just alternate each hump.